Today, I am going to be talking about one of British Columbia's largest ever infrastructure project. This involved widening the main highway as well as building several new highways and bridges as well as interchanges and overpass and various other upgrades. This took place across Greater Vancouver and was called the Gateway Project, also known as the Great Way Program. The total cost of the project was $3 billion. To offset the cost, Port Mann Bridge and Golden Ears Bridge were tolled, or planned to be tolled for 30 years. It is now 2005. As many can see, the traffic on the Trans-Canada Highway as well as surrounding roads and other important arteries are getting worse and worse and worse, which is leading to more and more delays and delays. And so by January of 2006, the British Columbia Ministry of Transportation got the intention to improve these roads as well as building new infrastructure to accommodate the growing traffic that plagued Greater Vancouver. The project, however, was not continued without facing some criticism and complaints, which were mostly from climate activists, led by David Suzuki, claiming that this project will only make traffic worse as it encourages a phenomenon called induced demand, which means the more roads you build, the worse the traffic gets. With that said, public transit was also upgraded along the footpaths of these roads, or the footprints, with a new and improved SkyTrain schedules, with a SkyTrain extending into Surrey. However, more complaints are heard from climate activists saying that the more traffic from the induced demand these roads bring will also include more pollution, particularly CO2 emissions. And because their voices were heard, public transit was improved, but so does the main roads for cars. And even though they were dissatisfied, the project continued anyways. With that, the first project I will be discussing is the South Fraser Perimeter Road. It is a 4-lane divided expressway built in the new territories linking the city of Delta to the Trans-Canada Highway in Langley. It was designed to carry the traffic from the BC ferries directly to the Trans-Canada Highway by bypassing the entire city of Vancouver, and relieved some congestion that would end up at the George Massey Tunnel that was part of the old route when traffic wanted to bypass Vancouver back before the Perimeter Road was built. As one can see, once again, before the South Fraser Perimeter Road was built, traffic coming from BC ferries with Delta would either have to enter the city of Vancouver in order to access the Trans-Canada Highway, or go past White Rock on city streets that one could drive no faster than 40 miles per hour, well into Langley before accessing the Trans-Canada Highway. The South Fraser Perimeter Road made it that much easier for traffic to bypass Vancouver and other surrounding cities without stopping, and had a design speed of 55 miles per hour, with very few traffic lights on its way. Although the road was built not without sacrifices, an estimated 200 acres of farmland were lost, as well as increased water pollution as the road was built on swamp and boglands. Construction of that road took 4 years, beginning in 2009 and completing it in 2014, with a cost of the South Fraser Perimeter Road itself $1.2 billion. The total length of the road was 25 miles. The next part of the Gateway program we'll be discussing is the Cape Horn Interchange. As of today, it is the largest traffic interchange in the whole province of British Columbia. The roads involved at junction are Highway 1, which is known as Trans-Canada Highway, Highway 7, Mary Hill Bypass, as well as United Boulevard. The Cape Horn Interchange is not something new. In fact, it existed all the way back in the 1960s, but as part of the Gateway program, it was upgraded and significantly remodeled to accommodate growing traffic. Originally built as a trumpet and modified cloverleaf interchange as seen in the satellite image, it has been upgraded into a stack 3-level hybrid interchange. It is located just upstream from the new Port Mann Bridge, and its reconstruction took place between 2009 and 2013. Speaking of the Port Mann Bridge, the Port Mann Bridge was replaced during the Gateway Program's project. The original Port Mann Bridge was built in 1961 and had 5 lanes of traffic. It was a tide arch bridge and was 1.3 miles long, with its longest span of 210 feet. It crossed the Fraser River and was located between Coquitlam and Surrey, and was in operation until 2015 when it was replaced by the new Port Mann Bridge. The reason for its replacement was not only was it aging and becoming unsafe if an event such as an earthquake or a hurricane were to strike, 5 lanes of traffic was obviously not enough, as that was the whole point of the Gateway program, to increase capacity for traffic. So on February 4, 2009, construction for the new Port Mann Bridge began. It is now a cable-stayed bridge, and construction took place all the way into 2015. The total length was also 1.3 miles as it crossed the same river. It had a total height of 530 feet, with a longest span of 1,540 feet, and a total width at 213 feet, making it the widest bridge that crosses a major river or water feature, not including viaducts that cross the city streets, in the entire world. It is 10 lanes wide and featured 2 HOV lanes, 2 express lanes on each side, as well as 2 collector lanes on each side. So in total on each side there were 1 HOV lane, 2 express lanes, and 2 collector lanes. The main architect and engineer behind the bridge was T.Y. Lin International and International Bridge Technologies. The total cost of the new bridge was $820 million. Ever since the new Port Mann Bridge opened to traffic, the old Port Mann Bridge was demolished, step by step, using heavy machinery. It was more in a way dismantled. It is unclear why they didn't just build a new bridge besides the old bridge and twin the old bridge, but experts believe the old bridge was aging and in fact becoming unsafe. 10 lanes of traffic was at least a necessity on the new Port Mann Bridge, as it carried an average daily traffic of 180,000. As of the time recording of this, the new bridge also had some mechanical issues prior after opening. During snow and winter storms, a phenomenon called ice bombs would occur on the bridge, where ice and snow would accumulate on the structure of the bridge, as it becomes heavy, it would fall onto vehicles, causing property damage. This was fixed when they added a heater that would keep the cables and other parts of the structures of the bridge above freezing, so water falls off rather than snow and ice accumulation. The bridge was so expensive that it was towed, where at least it was planned to tow between 2012 and 2040. However, the tolling of the bridge only lasted 5 years, as in late 2017, BC Premier John Hogan announced that all tolls on the Port Mann Bridge were to be removed. This is both good and bad news, as the good news is commuters using the bridge would no longer have to pay a fee to use the bridge. The bad news is all taxpayers would have to be part of paying the bridge, even those who had no intentions of using it. So this was not a win-win, as it actually faced some criticism and complaints. The toll rates were $3.15 for cars, $6.30 for light trucks, and $9.50 for large semi-trucks. Speaking of bridges, the next bridge involved in this project is called the Golden Ears Bridge. It is named after a nearby provincial park called Golden Ears Peak, which is also a name of a mountain within the provincial park. This bridge is completely new. It did not replace any other bridge. It was a new crossing in the Fraser River and carried 6 lanes of Golden Ears Way, as well as pedestrians and bicycles. It allowed traffic going from Langley to Pitt Meadows without entering the city of Vancouver, completely bypassing it as well, and cut the journey short from 45 minutes down to a mere 15 minutes. The total length of the bridge was 1.5 miles and with its longest span of 870 feet. In fact, this is one of the first projects about the Gateway program, with its construction starting in 2006 and ending in 2010, with a total cost of the bridge itself being $800 million. And like the new Port Mann Bridge, it was tolled between 2012 and 2017. Or in the case of the Golden Years Bridge, since its earlier completion, it was tolled between 2010 and 2017, with similar toll fees to its older brother Port Mann Bridge. The design of the bridge is an extra-dosed bridge. As we can see from this edited satellite image, the route highlighted in blue was the old route before the bridge was built that traffic needed to take to access Pitt Meadows from North Langley. Now with the new bridge, I highlighted the new route in blue, showing a much shorter distance. That means shorter travel times and ultimately less emissions. Finally, arguably the most important all of the entire project was the upgrade in capacity and travel lanes of the main Trans-Canada Highway. Before the Gateway Program project was in effect, the Trans-Canada Highway through Vancouver and much of it was a mere 2 to 3 lanes in one direction and was in total no more than 6 lanes wide. With the Gateway Program, it was upgraded to at least 8 lanes wide. Starting from the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge until 200th Street in Langley, Highway 1 was at least 8 lanes wide, with the widest parts being 10 lanes between North Road in Coquitlam and 160th Street in West Langley. The widest parts were 10 to 11 lanes wide in fact, including the new Port Mann Bridge as well as sections through the upgraded Cape Horn Interchange as discussed earlier. Furthermore, Highway 1, where Trans-Canada Highway was upgraded to 6 lanes from Dollarton Highway at the end of Ironworkers Memorial Bridge all the way to the Greater Vancouver Zoo, ending at 264th Street, or Highway 13. Luckily for the Cassiar Tunnel, it was originally built for 6 lanes, so no upgrades were needed, and the only thing needed was to repaint the tunnel to a 6-lane configuration. As seen in these screenshots of Google Street View, no upgrades were at least no physical upgrades were done to the tunnel, just repainting of the lanes. With that being said, this concludes this movie. The Gateway Program is arguably the largest and the most important single infrastructure project the BC Ministry of Transportation has ever conducted in its entire history. Not only did it relieve commuter times for motorists, it also contributed to the economy as Vancouver is proximity to the Pacific Ocean. This means more goods moving in and out, helping trade. And with that, I conclude the documentary. Thank you all for watching, and the Traveling Moose hopes to see you soon in the next round. And don't forget to stay subscribed and ring that bell.